UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I would say, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's already November 11th. Time is flying by. Before I begin the show, as I always do, this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, made fun of, and dragged through the media for the past 75 plus years. Today I have an interesting show for you. There's a very, very important point to my show today, as almost all my shows are. But at this particular one here, I have 10 videos, and in the videos, you're going to notice there's white streaks in the air. Those white streaks are jet airliners. Now, jet airliners go between 460 and 575 miles per hour, and they're usually between 31,000 and 42,000 miles in the feet in the air. That's very important for the show tonight, because what you're going to see is you're going to see aircraft just as they reach near the sun. Now, of course, I know that I've been putting on a lot of things about the sun, but this is so important. The reason why I do that is because you got the sun in the middle. When these UFOs come near the sun, they illuminate. Well, you can see the streaks of the jets come in, and then when the UFOs come in, you'll be able to see them nearly, they look like they're crashing into the aircraft, but they're not. They're behind the aircraft, and you'll see those in some of the videos. So we can show the first video. Again, we put an arrow so you can see where the UFO is going to be. And we're gonna loop this a couple of times, at least 3 or 4 times. And it's so important for you to look at the arrow and look at the UFO and look at its movement. And then when we re-loop it again, take a look at either one of the aircraft and see that they're not even moving. That is so important for you to see, because the government keeps saying there's nothing there. And I keep saying, well, why am I getting all of these UFOs if there's nothing there? At the top of the video, they were running in slow motion, not super slow motion, but slow motion. That's very important. And at 10 seconds it comes out, and as we go on to the after this loop here, we'll go on to the next video, which is the same video, but what we did is we raised the we zoomed in on it so you can see a better understanding of what I'm talking about. You see the UFO going up, okay? Watch that a couple of times. Watch the UFO just go straight up. Look how fast it's moving. It's moving. Okay, on this next loop, look at the jet. As soon as you see the arrow. Okay, look at the airplane, the jet aircraft. It isn't moving. Now, they're telling me, and I've read a lot, that they're going between 460 and 575 miles an hour. I'll say that a few times on this show. That's very fast. If you're on the ground and that jet airliner flies over you at that speed, it's going to zoom by like a fighter jet. Now, it's in the sky. And again, I videotape this near the sun so you can get both points of view. And what I'm trying to show, it's not that hard to figure out that these UFOs are near these aircraft. Also, some of these videos you're going to see how close they come to these aircraft. And I superimposed a couple of them, and they were going behind the aircraft because they didn't go in front of the white streak that you see. So if you ask, say for instance you're in a hearing about UFOs, and the person there, maybe the host, is saying, well, we really don't have any proof. Aren't you kind of tired of hearing, well, we don't have any proof? Because I sure am. Now, I took this, ladies and gentlemen, these 10 videos, there's 9, we superimposed this one, but I have 9 videos I took in 35 minutes. I was northwest Las Vegas, near Smoke Ranch. That's the location I was at. I had some people come out of the building, asking me what I was doing. I explained to them about the show, and quite a few of them were excited, and I hope that they're watching this show. They seem to be into, at least one gentleman was into Bigfoot, or his wife was, and I thought that was interesting. I'm going to be doing a segment on Bigfoot and other cryptozoologists information in an upcoming show. I still have to put that one together. But isn't this so interesting? Now let's go on to the second video. Okay. At 1 second, on the left side, it passes in front of the jet. In the very beginning, as soon as you see that arrow, it's going to pass in front of that jet. Now you can see there's little squiggly lines in that white area there of the jet. It's barely moving, but look at the speed of the UFO. It has to be going in the Mach pattern, because if that jet aircraft, as you can see, it was far away. The sun was to the right of it, as you can see, but if that jetliner was even going, say, 460 miles an hour, the minimum, how fast was that UFO going by it? It certainly wasn't going 1,000 miles an hour. It had to be going a lot faster than that. And it's interesting because of the fact that I'm out there taking these videos with a phone camera. I'm not out there with high-tech video equipment, 4K, 5K. I don't have that. I mean, I do have those, but I don't use them for this show. I'm using it for the cameras that I have on my phone, and there is 4 or 5 cameras, including the selfie cameras that you can use on this phone. It is a 23 Ultra, and I believe that with the 200 megapixels, I think that's why I get such great shots. Now, anybody who wants to do what I do, simply go out there and position yourself by the sun. And again, I'll have to make this real clear again. Please don't leave your camera pointing at the sun more than 10 seconds. When you see me take these videos, I count to 10, 1001, 1002 to 10. And then I pull my camera away and shield it from the sun. It's very important because you will ruin your phone camera. You may not ruin the phone itself, but the camera, it will probably be toast. So I can't stress that enough, because I've had people tell me, well, I can't, how can you take a picture of the sun? You look right at it, you get blind. Put the phone in front of you. Don't look right in the sun. You know where it's at. Put the phone in front of you, and then go ahead and take your 10-second video. But if you look at this, I want it looped so much because you have to understand that these craft are all over our skies. And you hear the congressional hearings, you've seen them, I'm sure, hope you've seen them. And now some of the people in the congressional hearings, they do little tours now. I saw Frager on a parade route, and he spoke to some people. I believe it was in Oregon or something. And he's a little reluctant to do that kind of thing because he's not a ufologist. But what he saw was so striking that he has to tell his story. And I don't blame him one bit, because every time I take videos or photos and I capture things, it excites me every single day. Interesting enough, my YouTube personal channel was taken off, and if I'm affecting individuals, maybe they don't like what I show, or maybe the government, we're looking into it. The law enforcement is also looking into it, and if there is something nefarious there, we'll find out. But for the most part, if you want to see my shows after they air, they're on 25.1, their channel, so you can still see them, and they get a lot of hits. And I hope that you spread the story about this particular show, because UFO, we want to know. And for those of you out there who are skeptics, who say, well, it's the impossibility for you to get that many videos or that many photos, they're right here in front of you on the show, and you can see it every Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. On channel 25.1. You know, if you have an issue with that, there's nothing I can say to you, but KPVM has been very good to me, and they've gone out of their way, I think, to prove my point that these are UFOs. Now, it may not be their understanding and agreement, but they understand what I'm showing here. There's no trickery. It's on my phone, and I download everything, and they see what we're doing here. And it's plain and simple to the average person out there that these are UFOs. They can't be anything else. And I ask scientists to take a look at these videos for themselves. Now, I know for a fact the government has videos better than this with higher resolution. But as far as what's happening right now in the world with the wars, they're being fixated on all these wars right now. But the UFO phenomenon is not taking a second seat. There's still a lot of videos on television right now. I was watching 15 of them just 2 days ago. So keep watching, keep being aware the fact that these UFOs are here, they're transversing in our atmosphere. We'll be back right after this message to continue on with video. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumblerlady1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. We're back, and thank you very much for coming back and hanging on to the show. It's so important for me to explain a lot as I do. I've had a lot of people help me out with the way I produce my show, but I need to get a point over to you at this point that I'm just like you. I'm the everyday Joe, and I think that what I'm doing is giving you pertinent information, and I don't try to go out of the boundaries of language that will not only confuse the average person out there, because I worked around scientists for 25 years, and I think that I show myself as the average person out there, somebody that you can understand, and I hope that these videos and photos show you what I'm all about. At the end of the 9 videos, I'm going to show you 5 photos of these craft. Now, I didn't take one from each one, but what I did do is I took the ones that were in different shapes, just to let you know, when you see these UFOs transversing our atmosphere by the sun, all you see is a white object. That's all you see. And people say, well, yeah, they're all the same. No, they're not all the same. They're different. And at the end of the show, or at the end of the video session, I'm going to prove that to you, because I took one from several of the videos and I I maxed them out. I'm not going to show you little dots and get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm going to show you the end results. That way you can see what was flying through the atmosphere. So at this point, let's go on to the third video. And on the third video, just at 1 second, as soon as you see the arrow on the bottom left of the sun, there's two UFOs going from right to left. Again, this one was taken in slow motion, and that's why it's faster, because when you do it in slow motion, it moves quicker than regular super slow motion. So slow motion is faster. So you'll see it just take off. And we did this again, showing this video, is because we have the sun and we have the jet aircraft above the sun. Again, going between 460 and 575 miles per hour. I can't stress that enough, because when I was in northwest Las Vegas, near Smoke Ranch, I put myself between the sun and what has to be aircraft zone where they fly, because these craft kept coming by. When you see these jet airliners up there, this wasn't the only one. I took 35 minutes of time out there, and I videotaped different aircraft. So if you see these aircraft, you say, well, you just keep taking pictures of the same aircraft. It's not. These are different ones, and sometimes there was 3 at one time in the same airspace. But if you look at the arrow and you see the UFO, how fast they were flying, and then study the aircraft going over the sun, you'll see that it didn't even move. You'd have to zero in on that jet aircraft, and it may have moved a millimeter on the screen the total time. And the total time for this particular video was 56 seconds. But what we did was, as you see the arrow, what we did is we cut the time off. I didn't want to wait 20 seconds to get to the arrow. So we cut the time in down to 10-second segments. So you go right to the UFO, which is on the bottom, the arrow, and then you can study it for yourself. Now, every time we loop it, you can actually see the jet aircraft move back, and that will give you an indication how far it moved. So every time, take a look. Every time we loop it, look at the jet aircraft on the top. You see it back off. See it? It just backs off very, very little. But in the 50, it took 56 seconds. It moved that far in 56 seconds. But look at the UFO. In the 56 seconds, it went that quick. It was gone, because it didn't appear until 20 seconds before the UFO appeared. So that means that within 30 seconds, it was gone in 34 seconds. So it's interesting to analyze videos when you take a look at them. Just don't take a picture or video and then show it, and don't explain it, because if you don't explain it, people aren't going to understand your point. And my point is that those aircraft, they don't move very much, but those UFOs are constantly moving at a greater speed than that jet airliner. And I can't tell you for sure how fast that jet airliner was going. But when I was standing out there and I was watching them go over my head, they seemed to be moving pretty quick. As you can see, they're leaving chemtrails. So they were moving pretty good. Now, when you leave chemtrails, remember, you're pretty high in the atmosphere. Sometimes you could be, maybe 10, 15,000 feet, but most likely these aircraft, they were pretty high. Again, maybe 31,000, 42,000 feet, which is the equivalency of 5.9 miles or 7.2 miles, respectively. So that's an interesting point about it. So let's go on to the fourth video. Again, at 1 second, the upper left of the sun. This video was 1 minute, 13 seconds in slow motion. And again, as I said before, we shrink this video down so we don't bore you. I don't want 1 minute, 13 seconds per time, because you'd be sitting there saying, I'll come back, I'll get me a cup of coffee and come back and it will reboot. So we are cutting it down so we just get right to the nitty gritty. And as you can see, again, take a look at the UFO first, where the arrow is, as it loops. Watch how fast the UFO transverses through the atmosphere. And then look at the jet airliner. You can actually see it move when we reboot it or go through it again. It definitely shows you it goes backwards. And that's resetting the video. And when we loop it, it gives you that indication of just how far that aircraft was moving compared to the UFO. And I don't want to bore you by keep putting up videos that show the same thing over and over and over again. But the reason why I put 9 videos out of basically the same thing is because I wanted to make a point here. I was only out there 35 minutes, and I got 9 videos of UFOs transversing our atmosphere. I can't say that enough, because scientists and government officials have keep saying that there's nothing in our atmosphere that they don't know about. Well, if they don't know about these, then maybe they should. I know that since the February shoot down of the 3 small objects that they never recovered because they blew them out of the sky, they claim that they lowered our radars to capture lower flying objects that they feel they were missing. There's a report that over the Arctic there was several of these small objects, and they sent out aircraft, fighter jets, to go after them, and they played with them for a while, the UFOs, and they left them behind. You're not going to catch them if they don't want you to catch them. It's kind of interesting to know that in February, when they shot down the 3, the one over the Yukon, the one over Alaska, and the one over the Great Lakes, it's interesting to know that those were all flying considerably low at the 40,000 foot level. There are some that are 60, 70, and 80,000 level, and there are several of our fighter jets that can go that high. You know, I'm not an expert on jets. I know the Raptor, I know the F-15. I know that they can reach high altitudes, and but as far as the ones in the Arctic, there is no conclusion to it. They're still investigating it. That was just in the news a couple of days ago. So if you want to look that up, that was quite interesting. But it seems there now seems to be a blackout. They're not really talking about it. If you go on Google, they're not talking about it. They're not saying anything about those Arctic UFOs. And they said it was a group of them. How many? At first, they were the stories were going back and forth. Well, we believe that there was 4 or 5. Some saying there was three or 3 or 4. They couldn't get their story straight, and then all of a sudden everything went, zip. They wouldn't say anything more about it. I understand that there are aircraft that were going near the Bering Sea, and if that's so, then they seem to be going in that northerly attitude, longitude, latitude. In that general area is where so many UFOs have come through the Bering Strait. So if they're, to me, that sounds like Antarctica to me. As you know, nobody owns Antarctica, even though several countries have bases there. You cannot claim it as your own as part of the country you come from. Interesting to know that there are off boundaries to all the countries in certain parts of Antarctica. And in the future, I do want to get into Antarctica and a lot of testimony. There's a lot of people out there, I call them whistleblowers, because they talk about areas that they were told they cannot fly over, and mistakenly some have flown in those areas and they were in a lot of trouble. So those are other stories that I want to bring to you. I need good, pertinent information before I do it. I just don't want to throw something up there, a some kind of renditions, artistry of a UFO. I want to get really good concrete information that's been out there, but I want to bring it to you on this show because I think it's so important for you to be able to see that these UFOs have been traversing our atmosphere for a long time. Even Admiral Byrd claimed that he saw things that he cannot explain, but he was told to keep his mouth shut, and that's an admiral. So with that, I want to thank you for watching these 4 videos so far, and after the break, we're going to continue on with 2 more before that break. So stay with us, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the Tumbler Lady at the Farmers Market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumblerlady1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. Thank you for coming back and joining us for the 5th and 6th video of this session here. I don't want to bore people and keep repeating stuff, but I think it's so important. And for those of you who are just joining us, I'll explain as I go through the next video what I was talking about from the first half. So we can go to the 5th video. 1 second out of the sun, and this UFO is moving rather quickly in comparison to the jet liner to the right. And again, not to repeat too much, but that is a jet liner to the right, leaving that white streak. You can see there's a little bit of a bulbous in the front of the line, and that is because it is so far away you cannot see the wings or the fuselage of the jet. That is a jet airliner, and is going approximately between 460 to 575 miles an hour, and anywhere from 31,000 to 42,000 feet in the air. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, if you missed the first half hour, you can always go back to KPVM TV on their YouTube and see the video again. I urge people to spread the news about these UFOs that are flying all over. We are in northwest Las Vegas near Smoke Ranch. So for those of you who work in that particular area, I was in your parking lot, and I want to thank the people who came out and encouraged me to keep videotaping and keep showing this for Pahrump, Las Vegas, Henderson. This is our own, but this just gives you an idea. These UFOs are all over the skies at any given day. The best time to catch UFOs, in my opinion, is the way I do it, in the sun. Now I go out and I take at least 100 photos, not into the sun, but in certain areas. If I catch a cloud that looks a little ominous, I'll take pictures in it and around that cloud. And a lot of times, these UFOs, they hide in those clouds. Let me repeat that. They hide in those clouds. Now, have you seen people take videos of what they claim are UFOs peeking out of the clouds? I don't know if those are true or not. I've seen a lot of them, and a lot of them look real to the untrained eye, and I don't claim to be a professional photographer or a videographer. I'm just like you. I just take videos, I take photos, and I seem to get UFOs wherever I go in the world, and I've been in Central America, many states, in Europe, Alaska, Hawaii, and I get UFOs wherever I go. And I'm not talking just about the sun. I'm talking about in the countryside, wherever I may be going. I just take pictures. I landed in Hawaii, and when you come out of the airport, there's a Walmart right there, and I started taking pictures just above Walmart, and I got 3 UFOs within the very first hour that I landed in Maui. So it gives you an indication that if they were waiting for me or not, I got those particular UFOs. And I'll be showing those in the upcoming video also. As you can see, if you stare at the UFO where the arrow's at and see how fast it moves in comparison to that jet, every time we loop it, the jet goes back to its original spot, as you can see. And that gives you an indication how fast that UFO is flying. We'll loop it one more time, and then we'll go to the 6th video. Now here's an interesting one for you to look at for those of you who may feel like that it's the same old, same old. Take a look at this. We have 3 UFOs in this one. One of them is stationary, and then you got one coming down, and as it comes down, it crosses where that stationary one is by the arrow. And then we have one that comes down really fast. And again, take a look at that over and over, because it's so important for you to see. You can see the stationary one, and then you can see the ones coming down right by it. And after real careful analysis, what I found was when you see that stationary one, if you go back and forth in the video, I did this on my phone. I didn't do it on an air here. But if you go back and forth, that stationary one isn't the only stationary one there. Another one came up from the sun. It came right to it, it crossed it, and it actually seemed to make the stationary one blink out. And then when the one on top came by, the last one, so there's 4, when it came down, it actually had the stationary one completely blink out. So what was going on up there? Maybe some miscommunication by these UFOs. We have no idea how many UFOs are flying in our atmosphere at any period of time in a certain area. But I think that the reason why I caught 4 of them here, and you can only see 3 because I said the other one was so fast, it was like a split second. But by going back and forth with my phone, I was able to see that 4th UFO that I didn't see it before. I only caught it when I was analyzing this for the show, is when I actually caught it, but I didn't put it in there because it would just take too long. And I think you'd rather hear me blab about other things before that. But again, take a look, every time we loop it, take a look at concentrate on the jet airliner up there, and watch it go back right now. It's going to go back. You see it? It goes back. That's how far it moved. And then when you look at it a couple of times, there it goes. Now take a look at the UFOs and how fast and how far they're moving, except for the stationary one. The stationary one is hardly moving at all. And could it be waiting for the jet airliner to pass over? Because I believe a lot of these UFOs are looking at our jets, and they're taking samples of the chemtrails to find out what kind of fuel we're using. Is the fuel damaging our atmosphere? Is it damaging when it reaches the ground? Eventually, a lot of that is going to reach the ground. Is that the reason why our atmosphere seems to have issues? There are all kinds of possibilities of these UFOs, what they're doing and why they're doing it. We don't know. We really don't know. And I would like for some input from a lot of you out there. If you can just let me know what you think. If you think maybe I'm too far gone, that's okay. Nobody has to believe everything somebody says. It's not that big of a deal. But I bring you these videos just to give you the awareness that every day that I see a video, a new video, and I go on different channels to find these videos. I don't look at the ones that are 30, 40 years ago, Shag Harbor, Stevensville. I don't look at those. I saw those 20 years ago. You know, it's old news. What people want to know is what's going on today, and why is the government still hiding that? The government's going to continue on asking for billions and billions of dollars for research and development, and that's good for progress. But when the Department of Defense has been given $800 billion or whatever it may be now, when they're giving that money, we don't know how much of that money goes to black op projects. And certainly, black op projects are good for companies that work with the government and even private companies. I know for a fact, and I say for a fact because people are not going to agree with me, but you know, when you have these crash retrievals, I am sure that they gave these to certain companies, gave them intellectual property ownership of it, but they wanted the technical data for themselves to militarize it. And I understand, you know, we need to be on top. We need to be number one in the world. We want to be able to take care of our fighter pilots that are in these jets that fly in the Mach pattern. I understand all that. I'm not here to clobber the Defense Department in such a way that I'm anti-American. I am not. I am a patriot, a U.S. Army veteran, disabled, and I take my oath to the Constitution very seriously. But when you hear me talk about the budgets and all that, I don't like the fact that every year between $1 and $2 billion is unaccounted for. So if you can't account for $2 billion, I believe you can give every child, men and women who are living in the United States, I believe you can give them anywhere from 14 to 20 bucks with that $2 billion. So why is it that the government can take that kind of money and not give us an understanding of where that $2 billion went, $1 and $2 billion? You can listen to the last congressional hearing. The congressman was very upset there. He basically said that they can't account for between $1 and $2 billion. And that's a sad fact that you're talking about a congressman, somebody who was elected by the people. And even the two Congress people who went to the SCIF a few weeks ago, they were not given any new information. I believe they claimed it was a waste of time, and that those companies that had been given these monies from the Defense Department or however they get their money, they felt that they don't need, they're at a not to need to know basis. And that's a sad fact in our government today, that a elected official can be told that they don't need to know. Well, that actually is contrary to the people we put in Congress. They are there to represent us. And if you're going to be told, well, you don't have a need to know, that's not a democracy. As far as I'm concerned, I think we're moving away from democracy when you tell your elected officials, just do something else. You don't need to know about this. We do need to know about it. We'll be right back after this message. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumblerlady1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV, channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses. We're back. The first 6 videos were taken in slow motion. The next 3 videos were taken in super slow motion. And why is that important? Slow motion, super slow motion. It's important because of the speed of the UFO. You would think that in super slow motion, you would just see a little movement. It's not. They still have a very, very fast movement through our atmosphere. So let's go on to the first of the 3 videos in super slow motion. Take a look at the arrow there in your lower left of the sun. At 2 seconds, it's going over the sun. Again, in super slow motion. And as we loop this one here, you're going to notice the 2 jets to the left of the sun. And again, if you look at the arrow, you'll watch the UFO move. You can see it streak by. And then take a look at the 2 jet airliners. Take your pick. And as we loop it, they don't seem to move at all because this is super slow motion. Now, in videos from next week that I'm going to be showing you, I caught something very interesting. And I think scientists are going to be very interested in what I found on that particular video that I just found 2 days ago. I've been analyzing it, and I'm pretty sure that I caught electromagnetic field generating from that craft. And so let's see if I'm right or wrong on that. Take a look at the UFO first, and then the jets. And just because the jets seem to be lower here because they're below the sun, it's not. They're far away. The ones that are on top of the sun were just as far as these 2. They were just in a different direction. One more loop after this, and then we'll go to the 8th video. At 3 seconds near the arrow, you'll see the UFO again. It's left of the sun, just under the jet. Notice the jet. If you look closely at the jet, I want you to take a look at it. It's disturbing the atmosphere. This is very interesting also. I was telling you that these UFOs do not disturb our atmosphere because I don't believe they touch our atmosphere. But if you look at the jet real closely, you can see it's disturbing the space around it as it's transversing through our atmosphere. So if these UFOs are not in our atmosphere, scientists say that we don't see anything in our atmosphere that we would call UFOs. Well, if they're not there in our atmosphere, then these jets are in outer space because these UFOs pass in front and pass behind these jets. And again, for those of you just joining us, these are not just shots in front of the sun, and I know I don't want you to be bored about that, but I get a lot of UFOs every single day. I'm getting so many of them that I have to make folders for them, but they have the dates on my phone keeps the dates, locations where I'm at, so I have a complete database on these UFOs flying near the sun. Again, I've always said that I believe that the reason why we see them when they transverse near the sun is because they're brushed aluminum, and they seem to illuminate it, these craft, just like if you were to go by a light from the dark area, you would be illuminated too. And I think that this is what's happening. If I'm wrong, please prove me wrong. I like to know. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first to come on the air and say I was wrong. I had some professionals show me and proved it to me, and I'll be more than happy to. But since I'm an amateur, and a ufologist, there's no school for ufology. it is a profession in its own, just like people who claim to be amateur archaeologists. They've been studying for 20 years. I don't call them amateurs. I still call them professionals. Just because they don't have their degree doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about. In this instance here, when I capture this many UFOs going through the sun, if the sun is out there bright where there's very, very little cloud, you'll catch them very easily. The more clouds that are up there, that are harder to catch because they transverse through the cloud area. Let's go on to the last of the videos. This is our 9th video here after this. How interesting is that? This is super slow motion, and you can see that UFO. At the end of the video, it's going to take off supersonic. That was at the end of the 17 seconds, and that's all I get. But you can see the UFOs moving. One goes right behind that jet airliner, but the one that's coming down is going to go right in front of the jetliner at the end. If we could have slowed that down more before it hit the end, it went right in front of it. The important point on this particular video is that there was a stationary UFO, like the previous video I showed, that is pretty close to the jet on top. It seems to be looking for something, but it isn't moving. You can see it there coming out of the sun. It's a stationary UFO. But these UFOs are passing that jet, and they are on the other side of that jet. So as we've been going through these videos, again, look at the speed of these UFOs, and then look when we loop it, as it goes by. Now you look at the jet airliner. It moves back to its original position, and it's not that far. It's very, very little in comparison to these UFOs flying right by them. And I'm sure that if this video was shown in the congressional hearings, I'm sure that they would have came up with 100 different excuses that it's a glitch or it is a lens flare. The little dot on the very top of the screen, that is a lens flare. Make no mistake about it, it is a lens flare. Those objects that are moving, those are not lens flares. As you can see when we re-loop it, the lens flare on top, it moves quite a bit. But the UFOs, they're not moving. They just do their same trajectory every time. And the reason why I loop this so much is because when people see it, they say, well, you know, I could see it on the third time, or I didn't see it. It took me 4 times to see it. But this one here, I saved it for last because it's so clear to anybody out there. You may not have the best eyesight, but I have terrible eyesight, and I can see this far away from the TV, and I did a lot of rehearsal on it. And even though I know where they're coming from, that's plain and simple to see. Look how easy this is to see. This is super slow motion. I had 17 seconds. I did not cut this short, this video. What you're seeing is the whole 17-second video. And that's why at the very end of the 17 seconds, that one goes at supersonic. That was its original speed. When you see it take off at the end, that's how fast it would have gone had I not done it in super slow motion. Had I done this in regular speed, you wouldn't have been able to catch it. It went by so fast, you would have to slow it down yourself. But by doing it in super slow motion or slow motion, I catch these UFOs. And for those of you out there who want to try this, as I said previously, please don't keep your phone out in the sun more than 10 seconds aiming at it, because you can damage your sensor in your phone camera. It won't destroy the phone, but it will destroy the ability to take pictures. I believe it leaves a little dot imprint into your phone, and that's how it's an indicator that it's been damaged. And I sure hope that doesn't happen to anybody. But go out and try this like I did. And this was taken in northwest Las Vegas near Smoke Ranch. I was in that parking lot there. Very nice people came out and talked to me. I appreciated them doing that. And you could do it yourselves. Go out and take a picture of jets flying by the sun at the same time. This was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and 35 minutes, and I got 9 videos. So that's incredible. 35 minutes, got 9 videos. And had I played any of my videos for the congressional hearings, they would have been a lot better than the baloney that they put on the congressional hearings. Such a disgrace when they did that. Such a disgrace. And this would be the last loop here. And let's talk about other things other than UFOs in the sun. I was looking at the news, and I was really interested. I love SpaceX and what they're doing. I believe Elon Musk was quoted as saying, "If there are any UFOs out there, I would know." That was a quote from him. And yet, Starship 8 was canceled because of a UFO scare. Now, that was all over the news. Was that a scare, or maybe the UFOs wanted to let him know that, hey, you may not believe in us, but we're here? Because they showed the spacecraft on the launch pad, and then they showed a UFO, and it was a delay. I understand that Spaceship 9 on its reentry wouldn't disconnect, and it blew up. That's unfortunate. Progress is when you come back down, you can re-land and reuse the rocket. But I hope Elon Musk changes his view about UFOs. They are there. And next week, I hope to have a real exciting show for you. I'm going to show you that video that I caught just a couple of days ago. Very, very interesting to see. I hope you have a great weekend, and take care. Good night. Hi, I'm Joseph from UFO We Want to Know, and I'm here to tell you about the tumbler lady at the farmer's market at Tractor Supply in Pahrump every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. These tumblers are locally made and have specialized designer toppers. Great gifts for Christmas or any holiday, and all can be custom made upon request by emailing the tumblerlady1@gmail.com. Also, you can purchase tumblers and mugs that I mentioned on UFO We Want to Know, aired every Saturday at 7 p.m. on KPVM TV channel 25.1. Thanks for supporting local Pahrump businesses.